Chapter 10, Muscle Tissue, Part 1. You remember from histology that there are three types of muscle tissue. Skeletal muscle tissue, that one is usually attached to bones, sometimes to skin. It is striated, has striations, here you can see them. It's voluntary, so you can control it. It's strong and powerful, and mostly in this chapter we'll be talking about skeletal muscle tissue. Smooth muscle tissue is different. It's located in the walls of our hollow organs like stomach, bladder, and our airways like bronchi. It's not striated, it's involuntary, we cannot control it, and we'll talk about it later in this chapter. Cardiac muscle tissue. There is the only location for that one is inside of our hearts. It is striated. You can see a little bit right here. It's also involuntary, and mostly we'll be talking about it in A&P 2, Chapter 18, a cardiovascular system. Special characteristics of muscle tissue. Excitability would be the first one. It means it's responsive or irritable. Whenever it receives a stimulus, it receives it and responds. Contractility. Whenever it's stimulated by an electrical stimulus from our central nervous system, it answers with shortening or contracting. Extensibility. You can stretch your muscles. And elasticity. After stretching, muscles return to their original position, recoil to the resting length. Please know those characteristics. Main functions of the muscles. Movement, of course. Movement of our bones, of our arms and legs, the whole body. Movement of fluids when our heart pumps our blood through the blood vessels. Maintaining our posture and body position. Stabilizing our joints in any location, whatever you want to hold your arm or leg. Generation of heat, especially skeletal muscles do that. Whenever you're working out, you feel hot after a while. Structure of the skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle is made of bundles and coverings made of connective tissue. So the whole muscle, here it is, that would be a tendon connecting it to the bone, and that muscle is covered with a thin layer of connective tissue called epimysium. Inside, you will see several bundles, and each of those bundles is called muscle fascicle. And each muscle fascicle is covered with another layer of connective tissue called perimysium. Inside of that muscle fascicle, again, there will be bundles, and those bundles are called muscle fibers. Muscle fiber, here it is, is also covered with endomysium. Here would be a layer of endomysium. Muscle fiber is just another name for a skeletal muscle cell. So, skeletal muscle cell and muscle fiber is the same thing. How muscles are attached to bones. Sometimes they are attached without any tendon, and that is called directly. Epimysium of muscle is fused to the periosteum of the bone, like those tiny interosseous muscles right here between the ribs. They are called intercostals, external and internal intercostal muscles. Next way to attach muscles indirectly, it means muscle is attached to the bone through the tendon. Here is a tendon, several layers of the connective tissue. Each cell, muscle cell, is called muscle fiber, and it can be very long, up to 30 centimeters, which I believe is close to 15 inches long sometimes. But they are very thin, as thin or even thinner than human hair. Each muscle fiber has several nuclei and they are peripheral. It means they are sitting right under the cell membrane. They have a lot of mitochondria because muscles need to make a lot of energy for contraction. And they take glucose from special glycosomes. It's a vesicles containing glycogen. Also in the muscles there is a protein called myoglobin. That's for oxygen storage because oxygen is also necessary for fuel production to make ATP molecules. Mitochondria make ATP molecules, energy molecules out of glucose and oxygen. Also there will be myofibrils, those cylindrical structures, and T-tubules. So, inside of each muscle fiber, there will be several of those myofibrils. But the whole muscle cell is surrounded with sarcolemma. Sarcolemma is a plasma membrane of the muscle fiber. The cytoplasm, right here between the myofibrils, is called sarcoplasm. Other structures you need to know about is a special type of smooth endoplasmic reticulum which only function is a calcium storage, and it will be called sarcoplasmic reticulum. Each myofibril, one of those cylinders inside of the muscle fiber, is densely packed rod-like element. All myofibrils make approximately 80% of the cell volume, and if you look at them under the microscope, you will see striations, darker A bands and lighter I bands. So, smallest contractile unit or functional unit of a muscle fiber, it means the smallest portion that can contract, shorten, is called a sarcomere. And if you look at that structure right here, myofibril, sarcomere will be from one Z disc to another Z disc. Here is in this picture, Z line, another Z line. What's the difference about Z line and Z disc? Z disc is pretty much like a coin. It has oval shape, but when in the picture, when you are looking from the side, it will be just a line called Z line. So that region between two Z lines is called sarcomere, and it's made of thick filaments, right here thick filaments, and thin filaments.